if I can just recap it and you can sort of, say, yeah, I think you got it. So the way I'm understanding this is I would say, for example, we have whatever objects are out there. I just grabbed this object, but it could represent anything. It could represent a person as well, or something I want to do, an idea. And it's out there, it's this thing. And so I'm going to perceive it in one way or another. And then as you're saying, my imagination is getting a hold of this thing, and that's how my mind's going to process it, and my mind's going to decide, hey, this is a good thing, go run to it and grab it, or oh, there's a bad thing, push it away, you don't want it, right? And then the will, of course, is going to follow because it wants the good and wants to avoid the evil. And then you have these emotions and passions that are coming up and are accentuating this one way or another,
Exactly.
right? They could be like blowing it up and making it bigger, or hiding parts of it so you only see a little piece. So our emotions influence the way we perceive this thing, which is why we're not always like fully objective, right? We're humans, we're a complex, a complexity is going
Awesome.
on here. And so what we're trying to discern right now is when these passions rise up and influence this thing to make it look one way or another, well, the spirits, good and bad, are influencing those passions. And so the
Yep.
bad spirit is going to influence those things a certain way. Right. That's why that's what you're saying. So like the discouragement and this and that, making it harder and harder because we're perceiving this thing not really how it is anymore. But it's like now I'm thinking it's a lot harder than it might be. Like if it's a good thing that I should do, he's going to make it real hard, or I'm going to get really sad about it so that I don't, let's say, go do it. And enough of those things kind of weigh me down, I sort of give up and then don't do it.
Yep.
Whereas the good spirit is coming, he's trying to do the opposite. Maybe it's a good I should do, but it's a little hard. He's going to he's going to give you strength. He's going to say, it's not that hard. You can do it. Continue to progress, keep your resolution. And so it's so important for us, and no one's talking about this, and no one's teaching us this, how to sort of discern those spirits. If you're just left to your own, I guess, devices without any kind of real formation on this, without virtue, as you pointed out, it's so easy that when something makes you sad or despondent, doesn't feel good, you don't like it, you just don't want to do it, even though it might be the virtuous thing, and then you think I'm doing the right thing, right? I'm trusting my feelings, man. I hate that line from the Star Wars trilogy and the whole George Lucas movies. I mean, always, it's like you got the real wise little guy Yoda, whoever these Jedi masters are, whatever they may be, and they're like, trust your feelings. And every time, and anytime that comes up, like I yell out loud, no, that's a lie. You can't be doing that. But it's not just in the Star Wars trilogy. It's in
Oh yeah.
everything. Every novel you read, every commercial you see. I mean, that is the world again. Those are the maxims of the world. So we have to learn to discern these spirits. And in this second rule, St. Ignatius is going to be explaining how we can start distinguishing what the good spirit is doing versus what the bad spirit is doing, right? Did I kind of get it now?
Yeah, totally. And so contextualizing the second rule and that it's, in for the person who is resolved to this higher good of serving God and making that the number one goal in life, then that it makes sense what the evil spirits would do, is that it will discourage, it will put obstacles in the way of that. And in the false reasonings as well, we talked about that last time, but it will, suggest that, well, you've never been able to grow in virtue, so how could you again? Maybe, but you probably have grown in virtue at different times of your life, for example. Or you'll never be able to, like, if you live this way, you'll never be able to serve your family well, or discover your vocation. You're going to mess everything up. And, and that's where you've got to really take the time to discern the spirits. And that's where the mental prayer comes in, because you can do discernment of spirits during mental prayer, you know? You talk to God about most important things is very important, you know? And so taking that time, because if we're thinking about the process of there's something here and that's been presented to my faculties and my passions are influenced in a certain way. And then in this, there might be spirits that have come in to influence in a good or bad way. And I want to be attentive to what I'm actually electing with my will to work toward, to move toward. And that's why we take the time to discern, to have a discerning spirit, a discerning heart, a discerning mind. That's prudent from a human and from a supernatural standpoint. And so what are we looking for in that? Well, first, is our will really like my number one thing in life is to serve God? You know, if that's not the case, then look at that first rule, right? But if you really are trying to do that, you know, have there been certain spirits that have gotten you to a point where you've become rather discouraged? Like that goal, you're like, yeah, but I what are the reasons? What are the things that have got you to that point?